I'm Dr. Alysson Muotri. I can take your stem cells and turn them into a miniature version of your brain. I use them to help people with neurological disorders like autism and to explore what makes us unique. IAmA. I read it. From May the 30th of June 2nd, I'll be working on mainly Mozart's Mozart and the Mind series in San Diego, which seeks to highlight the genius on every brain. I'm speaking about the differences we observed in autistic brains and how this information can help these individuals to have a better quality of life. I'm a neuroscientist and professor at UC San Diego School of Medicine, heading the Muotri Lab. We develop protocols to turn stem cells into brain organoids. These mini-brains can be derived from people like you and me, so we can have our own brain avatar in the lab. We use them to understand why the human brain is so unique and to help people suffering from neurological conditions, like autism. Tickets and info are available here. https://mainlymozart.org/mozart-the-mind-2019-calendar-events/ Further details are available here. https://mainlymozart.org/mozart-the-mind-presence/ Excited to get started. Bang proof. https://i.red.it/jcc6q320fgy21.jpg.edit. Had such a blast answering all of your questions. I have to run for now, but will do my best to pop back in and answer more today and tomorrow. If you're in San Diego, please check Mozart and the Mind out. If you'd like to stay in touch, you can follow me on Facebook here on GT. https://www.facebook.com/muotri/.
Orange Julius says, how does a mini brain clone from stem cells help those with autism? What causes autism?
Mozart and Mind IAmA replies, a major factor that causes autism is genetics. However, the genetics is complex, as more than 1,000 genes are implicated in the condition. We can compare how the neuronal network is affected in mini brains derived from autistic individuals to a neurotypical group. We previously found that the autistic networks develop in a distinct way. We are learning how we could help that by testing approved medications in these mini brains. We hope to find therapies that are more efficient and specific for people on the spectrum.
Dragonosaurus Rex says, hello, I'm curious, when you make a brain organoid, is it possible for them to be sentient? Do they display signs of consciousness? How would you look for the signs and record them, if they exist? Also, good luck on your research, it's amazing.
Mozart and Mind IAmA replies, this is a great question and we don't know yet. We are designing experiments to test this possibility. Stay tuned.
Drunk Winnow says, for laughs, do you ever turn to a lab assistant and cackle, Igor, fetch me the brain?
Mozart and Mind IAmA replies, no, but that's a good one.
Dorcash says, seem a high-functioning person on the spectrum. I also have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome and untreated chronic pain. Have you, or anyone you know, done any studies about the differences connective tissue issues can have on the brain or the impact of untreated chronic stimulus, pain in my case, but I assume most stimuli would have an effect on the development of a brain over time. Edit, I just wanted to say it is both nice and terrible to see responses from so many people in similar situations. I look forward to reading that dissertation on the 28th and hope that more research will be done in the future on the potential relationships between ASD and other heritable syndromes, specifically but not limited to EDS. If anyone want to contact me, please feel free to do so here or on Discord with a DM. I am Dorcash0001 on Discord.
Mozart and Mind IAmA replies, great question. This is unexplored as far as I know.
Bent Gadget says, is cord blood storage a useful practice for parents to protect their children against the possibility of a future disease that can be treated with stem cells, or is it 25 a year down the drain?
Mozart and Mind IAmA replies, cord blood can be used for diseases like leukemia. The clinical use for other conditions, including autism, is still experimental in clinical trials now. So, if you have a history of blood disease in the family, I would highly recommend it.
Thesavdorb says aside from spending time exercising, mindfulness, and practicing a healthy lifestyle, what are other things that may not be as commonly known that someone can routinely do to help strengthen mental health or combat depression? I'm not at all knowledgeable about neuroscience, but I am curious whether there is any correlation between stem cells and brain plasticity and maintaining strong mental health.
Mozart and IAmA replies yes, socialization. If you can combine your exercise, mindfulness and healthy lifestyle with a better social life, your brain will love it. Our brains are programmed to be highly social.
Trex005 says you believe that if we develop the technology continuously patch the brain, the old portion will continue to rewrite the new parts, much like RAID drives when one fails, effectively giving us the ability to replace much of the brain while remaining the same person?
Mozart and IAmA replies that's an interesting question. I think we can design an experiment using the mini brains to answer it. As for now, I think my answer will be speculative.
Packy21 says as I am on the spectrum, I know Asperger's has its strong feats. Do you see a possibility that in the future we can take out the downsides like decreased social capabilities and keep in the good stuff?
Mozart and IAmA replies that's exactly my goal. If we understand what are the network defects related to the downsides, we can design specific treatments for that, leaving out the good stuff.
P. MacDiggity says what considerations have been given to the potential ethical issues, such as, is there a threshold in the complexity scale of these mini brains at which point they could be considered alive, feel pain, etc.?
Mozart and IAmA replies we discuss these issues all the time in the lab with my group. Since this technology is quite new, there are many unknowns. However, I must stress that everything we do has to be approved by an ethical research committee. As the technology evolves and we learn more about it, more ethical issues are to appear. That's why it's important to let the society know what we are doing inside the labs. BTW, in October at UCSD we will have a big symposium to discuss the ethical implications of these mini brains. Stay tuned.
Zeitz says are there any potential applications for stem cell therapies in patients with relapse-remitting MS?
Mozart and IAmA replies I am not aware of any. I don't think so.
Varian says curious as to what inspired you to pursue this work?
Mozart and IAmA replies initially, I was interested in finding what makes the human brain so unique compared to other species. Our brains are incredible from the perspective of socialization and technology. However, we don't have human models, thus, I decided to use stem cells to create one. Later, I become the father of an autistic boy. He's now my major inspiration.
Wiggly Sklong says how easy are stem cells to get?
Mozart and IAmA replies easy but time-consuming and expensive.
Bill B4 says my stepson inherited a genetic disorder called Fragile X. Is there any chance gene therapy or stem cell treatments might one day help him or others with this malady?
Mozart and IAmA replies yes, we do have mini brains from Fragile X individuals and we are currently testing a novel drug treatment and a potential gene therapy approach. It is early days but looks promising. Fingers crossed.
Lasitha Face says do you have any idea as to whether these little brains can help other neurological issues, like TB or chronic migraines? Or is the primary use and focus on mental illness as opposed to physical?
Mozart and IAmA replies yes, we have some other projects in the lab. Migraine is one that we are just starting.
Populous Books says how valuable do you think stem cell research is and will continue to be in the future?
Mozart and IAmA replies this is a very powerful technology, we are just starting to learn about it. The future is very promising for stem cell research. There are many fundamental research applications and clinical trials going on.
Julius00 says could we ever truly be conscious?
Mozart and IAmA replies there is a huge debate about this topic. Right now, I don't think we are close to that. However, if we modify AI to learn how the organic brain does, then I think there is a possibility.
Pickwapick says, what does a mini brain look like? Is it cells in a petri dish? Or are we talking mini brain in a jar type thing?
Mozart and IAmA replies, in a petri dish. They look like small white balls floating in a red solution. You can see them at naked eye. They reach 0.5 centimeters by 6 months of age, and you can keep them alive for years.
Superb Sample says, how often do you have to deal with anti-vaxxers?
Mozart and IAmA replies, all the time. I hope science education will prevail eventually. ABIFR 2000 says, my whole family has autism spectrum disorder to some extent. Clearly it's genetic, but are there any nurture elements that can be used to treat autism? Or does the whole thing stem, forgive the pun, from the nature side, including treatment? Thank you for the work you're doing. Mozart and IAmA replies, although the genetic factor is quite strong in autism, it is not deterministic. Therapies, like ABA, have shown that the autistic brain is still very plastic. Moreover, our own data suggests that, in the right environment, even neurons with severe genetic alterations can thrive. The challenge is to translate this to the real world. Keep your heads up, we will see better treatments for autism in the coming years. Sakala says, I hadn't heard of this before. Do you know of any other labs that are using stem cells in a similar way to help people with schizophrenia? Mozart and IAmA replies, yes, there are. We do have some SCHIZOHRNIA-derived mini-brains in my lab too. I like to compare them with the ones derived from autistic individuals. Luxan7 says, have you tried giving cerebral organoid psychedelic compounds like psilocybin or LSD? Mozart and IAmA replies, ongoing.
Robert Nealand says, what would be the possibility of using stem cells to regrow certain parts of the brain that may be damaged, like an optic chiasm that was damaged, removing a glioma?
Mozart and IAmA replies, yes, this is regenerative medicine. I do think we will be doing this in the near future using cell reprogrammed from the patients.
IAmA says, hello. In one of my neurobio courses in undergrad, I learned that autism is oftentimes caused by an excess of synaptic connections, and that some of these connections are not pruned or trimmed during early development, which can lead to autism. Would there be any way in the future to treat this during early development?
Mozart and IAmA replies, yes. The idea of not pruned connections is still a theory and might be true for a fraction of autistic individuals. We believe our mini-brain technology can be used to find treatments that could help to compensate for this lack of pruning during early days. In fact, others have shown that autistic-like symptoms in adult mice could be reversible. There is no reason to believe otherwise for humans. We just need to learn how to do this. Nootropic Hippie says, can you make tiny clone humans with those brains? Mozart and IAmA replies, these mini brains are actually clones of the real ones. So, if I use your cells, there will be your mini brain in my lab because the cells capture your genomic content.
Run Like Jesus says, how do you use this application to help autism? As someone that struggles with autism, I'm quite interested in hearing what it could do for somebody like me.
Mozart and IAmA replies, we compare how the neuronal network is affected in mini brains derived from autistic individuals to the neurotypical group. We found that the networks develop in a distinct way. We are learning how we could fix that by testing approved medications. We hope to find therapies that are more efficient and specific for people like you.
Mxchman says, have you ever heard of Rett syndrome, genetic mutation in the X chromosome of the MEC2 gene, and if so, would this type of research be beneficial in finding a cure?
Mozart and IAmA replies, yes, we do have models for Rett syndrome and MECP2 duplication syndromes. Check this out. https://health.ucsd.edu/news/releases/pages/2015-09-08-stem-cell-drive-mini-brains-reveal-drug-target.aspects.
Cripplebat says, what are the notable result differences between male-female duplicate brains, if any? Are there notable differences between blood types?
Mozart and IAmA replies, we have not explored yet, Differences between male and female. We see no differences regarding blood types.
Man without modem says, what is your feeling about using CRISPR-Cas9 on children to prevent diseases in the future? Do you think it is feasible?
Mozart and IAmA replies yes, this is a very promising technology. However, we are not quite there yet. The current enzymes have off-targets, and in the next years or so we will learn to make it better. There is no return for this application in medicine.
Mirari01 says, okay, that sounds amazingly cool and sci-fi. What is the most unexpected development from this technology?
Mozart and IAmA replies, we don't know how the human brain is formed during early stages in utero. To me, the most unexpected development is to learn how organic human innate intelligence is born. With this information, we can make AI more human-like. My lab is working on this as we speak.
Murder00 Redrum says, are mini brains unique to each person's stem cells that were used to create it?
Mozart and IAmA replies, that's correct.
It's me. Red James says, hi. Is there any way this could also help people with epilepsy? If yes, how so?
Mozart and IAmA replies, yes. We have created mini brains from people suffering from epilepsy, and we are now testing if they show any sign of seizures. Then, we can test drugs to block that. What I like about this is the possibility of personalized medicine, i.e., creating drug combinations that are specific for the individual.
Sauce Dangler say, have you had any practical breakthroughs? For example, have you been able to mitigate B by promoting new brain cell pathways? Any effective treatment of CTE to reverse brain atrophy? Anything like that? Having a miniature brain in the lab is cool and all, but, not very tangible results for us non-brain scientists.
Mozart and IAmA replies, oh yes. Recently, we create a mini brain model for Aicardi-Goutier's syndrome, one of the most dramatic neurological disorder. Guess what? There is no animal model for this condition, so progress was not made for this condition. With our human model, we could generate mini brains from them, find what causes the problem, and developed a treatment that is currently in clinical trials. You can learn more in this short video. https://www.uctv.tv/shows/32743.
Descent of the Dragon says, can I send in a sample like those DNA heritage tests and you send me back a little mapped out version of my brain?
Mozart and IAmA replies, no. We actually need live cells to create an avatar of your brain in the lab.
Snow John 123 says, is there a possibility in future that whole brain be replicated? Can memories also be recreated?
Mozart and IAmA replies, I love this question. I don't know. The brain is formed in uterus with input and output from other organs and tissues. Our current technology can create mini brains with no other body parts yet. As the protocols evolve, we will need to add stimulation so the brain can record memories. For this to happen, we need first to recreate a fully functioning brain with all regions, cortex, hippocampus, etc.
MHVTZ says, do these mini brains have a conscious?
Mozart and IAmA replies, likely not, but we have not formally tested it yet.
Adifin says, what are the main differences between a brain organoid and a regular brain?
Mozart and IAmA replies, these mini brains or brain organoids are smaller, so they don't have the same number of neurons. They are also not vascularized, and they grow in the absence of a body, so they are not connected to anything. They are very different from the real brain. They are a model. Even with all these limitations, it is a useful model for science.
Parkerjster Vincent says, this is amazing and also very complex stuff. When you were a child, did you like to play with jigsaw puzzles?
Mozart and IAmA replies, loved it.
That the art says, probably a dumb question, but how do you know that the stem cells turn into a miniature version of the donor's brain? Couldn't it turn out differently?
Mozart and IAmA replies, yes. Al thought these mini brains do capture the genetic information from the donor. The way they develop is different from the real brain. So, all the data must be analyzed with this limitation in mind.
Kirella Shop says, how common are savants? What causes an autistic person to be a savant as opposed to low functioning?
Mozart and IAmA replies savants are rare. There are several theories about what causes an autistic person to be a savant as opposed to low functioning. To me, the most attractive idea is about genetics, the genes that are mutated in one versus the other.
Thekila Cook says, where do you see this research helping in other brain fields? BPCs?
Mozart and IAmA replies yes, virtually. All neurological conditions could be modeled by this technology.
REXUCSGO says for conditions that are neurological but physical manifestations like tinnitus and visual snow, can we expect any success in the field of fixing these often rare tricky neurological problems?
Mozart and IAmA replies yeah, absolutely. One application we have going on is to connect these mini brains with mini retinas to study how the visual cortex is formed. We hope this will be platform to study these neurological conditions and ways to fix it.